Today we're going to talk about how to never miss a layup again. And the big thing you got to pay attention to is what happened there with the first tip. The big problem with a lot of players, and all these tips are really going to be important, and they're going to be different than the ones I've given you in some other videos, so stay tuned for the entire thing. They're all going to help. But with this first tip, the thing that a lot of players run into problems with is they're going into their layup and then all of a sudden at the last second, they look up. And the problem with that is you're going to miss the layup because you don't have a good, clear understanding of where your body positioning is. So a couple things that a lot of players run into issues with is they'll be focusing on the help defense or their defender or anything, teammates around them, and they're always focused on that. And it's important to have an understanding of what's going on with that. And I got a tip to help you with that. But you've got to get an awareness of where the hoop is before you even go up into your 2 steps, or if you're going to do a 1-step layup or anything like that, which that's a little more advanced. If you're missing layups, maybe put that stuff on the back burner. But if you're taking your 2 steps, you got to know where you are before you go into those 2 steps. Because if I end up right here on my 2nd step, then I probably need to do a reverse layup. Or jump more straight up. But you can't make those little adjustments if you're not paying attention to that. So what you want to do is, on that last dribble, start getting your eyes up to the backboard. So you know where you're going to aim for specifically. So I would, on top of just saying, okay, here's the backboard and here's where I need to go with my 2 steps, I would start locking in with what's going in, or what I'm going to aim for, I should say, on the backboard. So, if I'm trying to go for this top corner here, I can start locking in on that. So not only will I have a better awareness of my body positioning, but I'll also have more time to focus on where I'm going to aim. Now I know you might think, well, is it really that hard to figure out where you're going to aim, and is that going to make a difference in making or missing? Well, if you're watching this video, you're probably missing layups, right? And that's probably part of the reason, because having a little extra time to focus on where you're going to aim is going to make a big difference. Now, as far as being aware of where teammates are and help defense, well, all you need to do is use your peripheral vision. I can see my hand over here, right? So you can easily see and react to defenders out to your sides, even though you're focusing on the backboard, wherever it is you're going to aim. Next big thing is when you're going up for that layup, a lot of times players think about just the actual layup, right? But one thing that can cause you to miss a lot of layups happens even before you're actually taking the shot. And it's not about the position like we talked about before. It comes down to your gather of the basketball. If you don't have really good control over the basketball, from the get-go, everything's gonna be a little bit off, right? Now you have to try to get that control right before you're going up for that shot. How do you think that's gonna work out for you? Probably not too good, right? So you want to make sure that when you're gathering the basketball, you're getting a nice strong grip on it. Now, at the end of the video, I will link you to another YouTube video that will give you different gathers of the basketball. That'll help you not just with getting good control over it, but so you don't get ripped from defenders. If they're trying to swat at the basketball when you're going up for that layup. But a couple other things that you can keep in mind is whenever you're picking up the basketball, put your hand nice and wide. Ideally, use 2 hands, and then if you want to use that offhand to, keep defenders away or give yourself a little extra space or protect the basketball, you can do that from there. But get those 2 hands on to start off with. If you do have bigger hands, you could do something like maybe more of a cuff, where you put it into your belly or your chest or your armpit, or even just cuffing it between your hand and your forearm if you have really big hands. But typically I would recommend you do one of those until you feel like you've really mastered it and you're not missing your layups anymore. And that'll help make sure that you're getting more of those layups in. If you are really young, I would recommend going 2 hands the whole way until you're about to finish, and then convert to the 1 hand at the end. That's gonna allow you to really get good control over the basketball, so now you can keep your eyes completely focused on the rim. It's a lot easier to control the basketball and not have to think about it. So that way, when we're going up for that layup, we can keep our eyes completely focused on what's going on there, using our peripheral vision to see our help defenders coming in and our teammates and things like that. And all of our focus can be on making this layup and those other things going on, not so much, okay, can I get control of the basketball? Am I gonna be able to actually get the shot off the way I want to, right? You eliminate all those things, which is really, really important. Next tip is to work on high-speed layups. Now, high-speed layups, basically what I try to teach a lot of players to do, we really exaggerate this. So I want them to be at the peak of their forward speed, so pretty much a sprint as they're going up for that layup. And I'll even have players work on trying to do it without even jumping. Now, as you lift the ball up, this leg will naturally come up and you'll usually get a little bit of air time, but I'll work with players on just getting these layups off with absolutely no jump. And the reason we do this is because in game situations, there's times where maybe you're on a fast break and you're just a little bit ahead of this guy and you need to get that layup off quick, right? Well, if you're not used to taking that kind of a layup, what's gonna happen in a game? You're gonna feel rushed and you're gonna miss. Same thing could even happen in the half court set, you know? You're here, beat your man, and you gotta get this quick layup off. Well, if you're not used to that, how do you expect to make it? So the reason I have players practice this is because when you're practicing this way over and over and over again, it starts to become comfortable. And you're never gonna need to probably do an actual no jump layup. I mean, it's decent to have in your bag in case you might need it, but the reason we do it is so we're comfortable getting that shot off quicker and getting that full speed towards the basket and not always needing to jump super high. A lot of times if you're a guard, you know, and you got big guys in the paint, if you're trying to finish over them, you're making things a little bit harder a lot of times unless you got a really good, quick floater. But where you really have an advantage on big guys is they're usually not as quick as you, right? So you can take advantage of that by taking quick steps to move past or around them. Working on high-speed layups will help you with that. Next big thing, and this is like for as much about like keeping defenders away as it is for your mental confidence, which we talked about before. I'm gonna give you some more details though, is using this off arm to protect the basketball. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. Again, the gathers I'm gonna give you at the end will really help you with this, but the main thing you wanna look at is still trying to gather that basketball with two hands, unless again you got really big hands, then you could do the cuffs or the other things we mentioned before and the things I'll give you at the end. But gather with those two hands typically, and then from there, getting this off arm up. And what you wanna do is have a 90-degree angle. You don't wanna extend. If you got a defender here, if you extend, you're probably gonna get a foul call on you. So keep it 90-degree angle like this. And you can use some shoulder movement to keep that defender at bay while still probably being good to go without getting a foul call. Now you gotta adjust depending on how the refs are calling. Sometimes they'll be super tight on how they call these things, but 90% of refs, they're gonna allow you to kind of keep this space for yourself, okay? As long as you got that 90-degree angle. And what that's gonna do is, again, give you that mental confidence knowing, okay, I got my defender where I want him, he's not gonna block this shot, so you can put more of your focus on the shot. One other way you could go about this is simply having both hands on the basketball, but keeping those elbows wide. That'll give you a little space to work with once again, right before you extend past the defender. And then with all that, that will allow you to really keep your eyes focused on the backboard so you can get your positioning right and get more time aiming for the basket like we talked about earlier. Next tip is to hit the glass higher, not harder. A lot of times players, when they're going for the layups in games, they're trying to rush to get them off quick, right? And if they see a defender, what they'll do is they'll try to get to the basket quicker. Kind of like we talked about with the high-speed layups, right? And those are great to practice, but even with those, I would recommend you work on trying to hit the glass higher, because what that's gonna allow you to do is get that shot off confidently over defenders. And if you get that really high arc, it makes it really hard for them to block because there's no trajectory towards the defender, it's pretty much straight up. So what you'd wanna work on is aiming for like above that corner, right? Try to get it above the square. Now I know as a beginner, a lot of times you're taught to aim for maybe like this corner, right? There. But when you're in a game situation, if you always go there, it makes it predictable to the defender where you're gonna try to finish. So if you can get it up higher, not only will make it harder for them to block because of the trajectory, but also as far as like knowing where you're gonna finish, right? Defenders are gonna time and position themselves based on where they think you're gonna take the layup. So if you finish higher than what they expect, it makes it harder for them to anticipate that. The other big thing this will do though is give you a nice soft touch. If you're rushing the shot and going really fast and hard, that's what you're gonna get, is a shot that, okay, I hit this corner, but if I'm trying to get it off quick, now it hits hard off the backboard. But if I hit higher and softer, I'm gonna get a really good bounce 90% of the time because it'll hit that backboard, boom, drop right down, you'll get buckets. Now as far as those gathers to make sure that you're strong with the basketball, have good control and keep defenders at bay, I'll have that pinned to the top comment down below. I'll also have pinned to that comment the top 3 things that keep almost all players from scoring more around the rim. Make sure you check both those out, they'll help you a ton. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to catch all videos, and I will see you in those videos next.